Today in this video, let us understand template, how templates are used inside Vue applications, how we can render HTML, how we can develop UI. Vue uses HTML based template. Okay, so all of you might be familiar with HTML, so therefore Vue also uses HTML, so that new learner or anyone who is new is going to quickly adapt with the workflow. It allows you to declaratively bind the rendered DOM, whatever the DOM generation will be. It will be getting binded to our dynamic code, right, with the data. All Vue templates are syntactically valid HTML. All Vue templates are, yes, they are valid and passed by browsers. Okay, now under the hood, Vue compiles the template into highly optimized JavaScript code. Now under the hood, what happens is there is a conversion. Okay, the code gets converted into highly optimized JavaScript code, combining with the reactivity system. Now we are then what happens is there is a reactivity system, right? The whole Vue is based on this reactivity. So Vue is able to intelligently figure out minimal number of components to re-render intelligently and apply minimal amount of DOM manipulations, right, when the app state change, whenever the app state changes. Okay, if you are familiar with the virtual DOM concepts and raw power of JavaScript and prefer raw power of JavaScript, right, you can also directly write render functions with templates. This first topic we have to see is text interpolation. Interpolation simply means we are transporting, we are just letting one object from one place to another, right? Interpolate, we are teleporting it. Most basic form of data binding is text interpolation, moving of text from one place to another using mustard syntax. What happens here is we have this text variable, message variable. It contains some text. It is inside this mustard syntax. It indicates that there is interpolation happening here. So from where to where? From data that is there inside script to our template. The mustard will be replaced with value from the component instead. It will also be updated whenever the message property changes. It is going to update. Okay, so now let us see practically how it happens. Let us practically understand text interpolation. So I have opened this Vue playground that is available in the documentation section. Just click on this link. You are going to navigate here. It will navigate you to here. As you can see here, we have some header tag and we have this input box. Now observe carefully. As soon as I write, the header tag gets updated, right? See how it got erased. Nothing error, nothing, right? So what is happening here? There is a interpolation happening, there is a transportation happening here. Whatever the text here I am typing is, it is getting transported here. That is called as text. So the syntax in Vue JS is like this. Whatever variable you want to bind with the data part, this is the data section in that script. So we have this message variable. So in template section we just have to enclose it in double curly brackets, that also known as mustaches, because it looks like mustache, right? So man having mustache, that's why the name mustache, right? That is all about it. Text interpolation. We can have raw HTML, so we can have raw HTML also. So let us understand this example also practically. So let us have HTML. Okay, so HTML, right, some HTML here is going to render. Now just observe, inside this pane nothing is there. We have a paragraph tag using Vue HTML directive. As you can see, the output is there. Now simply this should be red. Now this is red. How it happened? That's the question, right? So this is raw HTML. Now this is raw HTML. As you can see, using text interpolation, where we have rendered this raw HTML like this. As now what was inside the raw HTML variable? So this was it. Span style color red. This should be red. So this was actual the content of that variable. Let us try this example. So in the data section, some HTML. So I have wrote down the HTML. Right, now let me render it. Right, some HTML. Now I am going to say so yeah, right, see how it got rendered, right? Using the attribute VHTML, we have achieved it successfully. If we are going to use it inside mustaches to render it, it is not going to work. Therefore Vue JS has offered this attribute, because here if I am going to just write it, it is not going to render, because it is going to give us raw format of it. Therefore we have this raw HTML attribute, as you can see. Now what you are seeing here is known as directive. Now what you are seeing here is this is a directive. Okay, we say directive. Directives are like attributes, native HTML attributes, but in Vue.js we call it directives, right? They direct something. Here it is directing, it is controlling, right, the behavior. Therefore the name directive. We are seeing is called directives are preferred with. Now all directives in Vue.js are going to get prefixed with v dash to indicate that they are special attributes provided by Vue. As you may have guessed, they applied special directive behavior to the DOM rendered. Yes, as you can see, it has rendered. It has given some special reactivity to it, right? Now whatever I am going to give her, it is going to give the reactivity. See how it. So directives are very powerful in Vue.js. They offer reactivity to the elements wherever it is pushed. It has immense power. Reactive behavior to the. Here we are basically saying keep these elements in and up to date with the right. Here we are saying here what we are saying by VHTML, that keep it up to date, whatever the content of this is going to be. The contents of span will be replaced with value. Now note that you cannot use to compose the template, because it is not string based template, right? Now let us move for the attribute bindings. Yes, so we can bind. Now what is attribute binding means just connecting something, right? Now what attributes, what are attributes? You all know, whatever we write inside the elements, like we are going to give class, so class is going to be an attribute. It specifies something, it tells about the element, right? Metadata, ID and whatever, these are attributes. So similarly we can bind attributes. So ID attribute can be dynamically binded with our data section to have reactivity in the system. So let us see. Mustaches cannot be used inside HTML attributes. Mustaches cannot be used. So therefore we use we bind directive. So this is next directive, we bind, because what documentation is saying here is, just let us understand. So okay, what we learned from previous topic is that using mustaches we can bind our data properties with the template. Now let us say we have something like, let us consider an example like ID 20. So we have this dynamic ID, consider it dynamic, right? So let us have this ID. If we are going to write here, we are going to get 20 here. Now what if we want to assign the ID attribute to this h1 tag element? How to achieve that? So you might be thinking like giving mustaches and then ID like this. No, it is not going to work like this. Vue has vbind directive for this purpose. Okay, what we write is vbind ID equal to ID, right? And in this way, let us write some content here. This is h1. Now if I'm going to inspect, let me inspect. We have binded our attribute ID with the value, right, successfully. So that is the purpose behind this directive, the main use case, because messages cannot be used inside the attributes. To know more about this, you can research. The vbind instructs Vue to keep elements ID. Now therefore we have this ID also reactive with the command dynamic property. If the bound value is null, now if it is null or undefined, then it will be removed. That's it. Now we have the shorten property for this. What is the short form? Just remove the vbind. Just start with the colon. So Vue JS is really smart. It gets to know that we have a colon here, therefore it is going to get it like it is directive. Attributes that start with the colon may look different from normal HTML, but it's in fact a valid character for attribute names, and all Vue supported browsers can pass it correctly. In addition, they do not appear in final markup. The shortened syntax is optional. You will likely appreciate it when you learn with more about its usage. For the rest of the guide, we'll using the shortened syntax. Right? Similarly, we have these Boolean attributes now. Different types of attributes like string attributes, number attributes. Therefore, we have Boolean also. Now these are special meanings. They have special meanings, right? Boolean attributes have special meanings. They negate the values by its presence. Let us have the disabled attribute for this example. Let us understand disabled attribute. You all know disabled attribute in the HTML. So let us take this example. So we have this button, right? Now currently is button disabled. Let us try this first. Is button disabled? True. Sorry, my bad. So okay, I have given okay, nice. So now as you can see, button has been disabled. I have binded the data property is been disabled with this attribute. See how the value affects the attribute, because this is a Boolean attribute. By giving it true false, we can toggle its behavior. See, it's working. So disable is one of the most commonly used attributes. The attribute will be included if and only if it is a truth value, right? So the main part here, disabled attribute is only going to get connected or rendered if the value is true. That's the main part, because further you are going to understand the importance of it as we progress in the tutorial, how it is important in rendering it. Okay, for this video let us keep it short. We are going to continue from this topic later, right? Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have understood the topic.